Live on a Tuesday edition. Winter's here. There were flurries this morning.
That's right.
I can handle it. We're fine. I'll be all the way through the holidays, I'm good. It's the February Marches that are the problem. This is in the brochure. I know what I'm getting into here. I know where I'm at.
Today was it doesn't feel good.
But we got decent on the weekend. Do we have a chance for like 70 on Saturday?
No.
I think it's like decent. I think you'll be all right. I think
all
it's
right,
safe,
that's fine.
pal.
It's just a reminder of when it's cold and rainy, how miserable it is.
It's the wet.
It's the wet.
I can deal with all the cold in the world.
72 on Sunday.
Yeah. So you're fine. You're
safe.
You're safe.
And then we're not dipping back into the 40s at least into November. So
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, no big deal. This is fine.
This
for a
is
couple
fine.
Of days. Nothing to be here. Nothing to see here. How would you rate the coaching that you saw last night on Monday Night Football?
Nathaniel Hackett. Appreciate the effort. And the fact that the Chargers didn't just blow them out is crazy. Nathaniel Hackett is the worst. He is the worst coach I've ever seen.
You know, when we do this job, the one thing that we are prone to is hyperbole.
Yes.
And because you're prisoners of the moment and you're reacting and you're all of these things. If you go back to, the old Rome days, have a take, don't suck, right? Come strong, all that stuff. I don't think that you say that with an ounce of hyperbole. I think that there's a lot of data to back that up through the first 6 games of this season. I did a takedown. I don't know if it was on this one or on my other job where you actually outline like his resume.
Awful.
And you go, how did this guy ascend to this if not for dad being an NFL coach with a lot of friends?
Yep.
And this happens this isn't a football problem, it's a life problem.
World.
Like
Sure.
if you know people, it's really, really good.
Yep.
A little hint for the kids out there.
Yeah.
Who you know more important than what in many, many cases.
Yep.
So he elevated randomly. It feels like they hired him just because he, quote, got along with Rodgers, which he might be the only guy on the planet who does, him and A.J. Hawk.
And they ran Vic Fangio right out of town.
Write him out. Right out. And by the way, it's not like Hackett was running the offense in Green Bay. That was LaFleur that runs the offense, calls the plays. It's his complete operation. And so they hired this guy. From my vantage point, it seemed like because maybe this would help us get Aaron Rodgers. That's what it seemed like to me.
Okay.
Well, they didn't.
No.
And now this guy, who I was looking at the resume, I'm like, why should he be calling plays or designing offense? Where in here is the genius? I don't see it.
Right.
He's worked for a lot of people who are smart, but that doesn't mean that he's it. This dude it's as bad as it gets, brother. That was pathetic.
And
I got news for you. It's 2 weeks in a row that the guy on the other side was bailed out for being a bozo too.
Yes.
Agreed. We did it here. And then,
yes.
There are maybe 2 rosters in the NFL that you would trade for the Chargers. Maybe 2. Buffalo and maybe Kansas City just because of the Mahomes factor. That's it. That's the list. They're that good. And look what it took for them to beat us. All of the things that had to happen. And last night, that should have been them by 21.
It should have been a drubbing. It's wild. That game was, again, an affront. Fortunately, you got a touchdown in the first 2 touchdowns in the first half. Those would be the only touchdowns of the game. And so just a brutal performance. Here's the thing. People say, how could you say that? And yes, I realize I've done this show for a team that went 0-16, followed by 1-15. The Browns did not feel like they had constructed a Super Bowl worthy roster.
Nope.
That wasn't what they were trying to do, nor did they just trade for a quote unquote franchise quarterback. The Browns were in a very, very different position then. What's happening right now with the Denver Broncos is stunning mismanagement. It's crazy, and their defense is actually very good. The fact that this guy felt that Melvin Gordon needed 15 carries a game when you had Javonte Williams and then gets benched out of nowhere. By the way, poor Miss K. She needed 2 points from Melvin Gordon. That's it. That's it. And he got benched for no apparent reason so that Latavius Murray could get all the carries. Javonte Williams never got that kind of a workload when he was healthy. He's better than Latavius Murray.
Yes, he is.
Who's on his, I think, second team this season.
Yeah, that's right.
It is absolutely wild to see the way that this team has nothing. Russ is dreadful. They've got Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. You drafted that Dulcich kid who looked pretty good running around out there with his flowing locks. And they are awful on offense. Russ is awful.
It's terrible.
Awful. And part of it has to be, maybe he's cooked a little bit, but we went back and looked at the end of last year. He wasn't cooked.
No.
So schematically, they are awful on offense. They are not making anything easy, that's for sure. It's an abomination. They are so much worse than I thought they would be. The Chargers, it feels like, just like to kind of, I don't know if they don't trust their line. They don't really throw the ball down the field very often. Did you notice that? I felt like
it's awful to watch with as much weaponry as they have.
Yeah, they need Keenan Allen back, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, that was strange. Austin Eckler had 10 catches and 16 targets as a running back. I mean, I love it. He's on my fantasy team. It's great. PPR. It's awesome. But what are we doing?
What are we doing? Gibby?
The Chargers are winning in spite of their coach, which I have said for a while now.
I agree with that.
And it's becoming more and more evident that is the case.
I hate to do Northeast Ohio crime, but sometimes.
That's
that's a West versus East battle for you, though, so that's,
Enough said. You don't have to go any further.
I was gonna say.
The other thing, by the way, this is the fourth of 7 Broncos games in standalone national windows this year.
They're going to change.
They
got to get out of it.
More crap to come.
They got to change that.
All right.
They could have flexed Sunday night this week. Dolphins Steelers. They didn't.
They're sticking with it. They're probably holding it for later in the year because they only get so many flexes, right? They can't do it all the time.
They can do more than you think.
Here's the deal, though. Like, you still take Pittsburgh.
It's the Pittsburgh audience.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, if Tua plays, and you got Tyreek, now you're fun. I have a question.
Yes.
I would like anybody to explain to me. Did you guys watch the end of the game, regulation, last night?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to explain to me what Brandon Staley was doing with 3 timeouts and the ball and a minute to play, not trying to score. He let the final 30 seconds tick off before like, thinking he was cool, taking a timeout with a second on the clock for Justin Herbert to throw a Hail Mary that ended up 20 yards short. I just want to know what's on his sheet that says to behave like that. Could you believe what he was? He had 3 timeouts.
He had 3 timeouts.
Field goal wins it.
And 2 minutes. A minute 51 is when they got the ball.
Was it a minute 51?
4th and 2 near midfield against the Browns.
Okay, so what is the? I just want to know where's the, because he's bound by this thing he's got in his hand. He plays it like a drunken kid playing Madden at 2 a.m. I don't understand it.
They would play it better.
They would. You're right, because they'd go score.
No doubt.
What is his thinking there? How would you justify that thinking?
You can't.
It's stupefying.
It was like they were playing for overtime, and then in an overtime you had punt, and because you got lucky that on the punt that they muffed it, you get to kick a field goal. I mean, the overtime, the last possession of the fourth quarter, and then overtime, here's what you had. So the Broncos got it with 3:58 in the fourth.
Yeah.
16-16. 4 plays, 9 yards. Punt. Chargers, 7 plays, 19 yards, and take a minute and 51 to go 19 yards in 7 plays. It was insane.
They had all 3 timeouts.
Overtime. 3 plays for the Broncos. 3 plays, 9 yards. Punt. 3 plays, negative 4 yards for the Chargers. Punt. 3 plays, 3 yards for the Broncos. Punt. 3 plays, 1 yard for the Chargers. Punt. Muff punt. 4 plays, 7 yards, field goal, 19-16. I mean, the overtime performance from combined of these offenses, 9, 12, 16 plays, 5, 8, 9, 16 yards. There were 16 yards gained on 16 plays in overtime.
I mean, that's what it felt like.
It's what it was? Yeah, brutal. It was awful. They got to get the Broncos off of national television.
They're this year's Giants. They're probably on Monday Night Football 2 or 3 times, Sunday Night Football at least twice.
I almost feel like I'm as bothered by the Chargers because of this is Herbert's prime. Guys, he threw 57 times last night.
Yep.
For 238. His team scored 19 points in 5 quarters of football. 5. He threw it 57
after coming
times.
off of running the football for, 250 yards against us?
They ran 24 times for 73, 3 yards a carry. They averaged 4 yards a pass attempt. I mean, this is as anemic as it gets. Mike Williams was taken out of the game completely. 2 catches, 17 yards on 6 targets in this one.
I don't understand how you have Justin Herbert and you get the ball in a tie game.
It's crazy.
And you say with 1:50 and 3 timeouts, and you're like, and then it almost was like he was acting like he was cool calling a timeout with a second. Who cares?
Yeah, right.
At that point, just go to overtime. Why even, if you're that risk adverse?
Because he's like, maybe we're going to get a pass interference. I'm going to kick a field goal. I'm a genius.
No, you're not a genius. You're a dummy.
By the way, they averaged 6.4 yards a completion with Justin Herbert. The only person who averaged at least 9 yards a reception on the day was tight end Donald Parham Jr., who had 3 catches for 53 yards. Everybody else, 6.3. They only had 2 completions. This is insane. They had 2 completions of more than 10 yards in the game. 24 to Parham, 14 to Josh Palmer. Eckler's longest catch was 9. Gerald Everett's longest catch was 9. Mike Williams' longest catch was 9. Carter's longest catch was 7. Sony Michel, 6. Michael Bandy, 4. Playing with Justin Herbert, who is
the third biggest arm in the NFL, or as big as Allen and Mahomes.
Sure.
He's as big as anybody. Him. And they're just wasting him. And somehow they're 4-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we let them off the hook and they played Denver.
Yep.
Bad ball.
Tom Pelissero, by the way, just reporting on NFL Network, Russell Wilson getting an MRI. They are thinking it could be a fairly significant injury. It might actually, not that you root for anything, could actually help Denver, I feel like.
Who's even their backup quarterback?
I have no idea.
Could be a blessing.
It doesn't matter. Not with that coaching staff.
True.
They could bring John Elway or Peyton Manning out. Wouldn't make any difference. Like, they are incompetent. Just stunningly so. It's bad. It's really bad ball. What the heck would his injury be? What did he get hurt last night?
Hamstring.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Come on, man. I feel like that feels like okay.
I've seen enough.
I don't want to do this anymore. Brett Rippon. Brett Rippon would be the
Mark's son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mark Rippon. By the way, one of the great single season in the history of the NFL, Mark Rippon.
Yeah.
That year he won the MVP and the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was like
I think that was the last time Washington was good, too.
It probably is. Yeah. I mean, him and the end of it. They won those 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yep.
Because it was Williams and Rippon and then Theismann early. So 3 Super Bowls, 3 different quarterbacks with Joe Gibbs and that bunch. But yeah, it's bad ball, man.
It's brutal.
And that's not a Thursday night. Like, you've got extra time. That's Monday night.
It's 2 teams that we said at the start of the year they could be Super Bowl type teams.
Oh yeah.
And that you pick, are the Chargers? They were your pick, right? Yeah. I mean,
and they still might make it there.
Can they with him? With Staley?
Well, that would be the problem. But they don't have Bosa right now.
Yeah, I know.
When they get Bosa back, they're going to be pretty formidable on D. They get Keenan. They haven't done it without Keenan Allen, Bosa.
I'm not sure what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing either.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, it was so bad that I opted to second screen the game and allow Miss K to throw Bachelor in Paradise on the main screen, which was more compelling, to be honest.
I was looking last night. I was looking for anything. Amy had gone to bed early. The boys were abed and asleep. I was all caught up on all of the stuff that I need to watch from a show's perspective. And I was like, how much more can I subject myself to this? And I swear to God, if Commando would have been on,
I was watching the Cube with Dwayne Wade.
Okay.
While I waited for the Guardians rain
right.
delay.
Which, by the way, all right, let's do that now. You let people into that building at 5 o'clock for a 7 o'clock pitch.
Why?
I have no idea. Then you don't, like, everyone has access to radar. Like, just call it at 7 and send them home. Like,
there were reports coming out of New York that they were thinking about calling it at 4 o'clock.
Well, it was going to rain till 11, and they needed 45 minutes after the rain for the pitchers to warm up.
Right. So it was just never going to be in the cards.
No.
I went to football practice and basketball practice. People are monitoring it on their phones. I got home at like 9:15. My wife goes, yeah, they're going to try to play at 9:30. I went, wait a second. This is the solution that you're going to – like, let's say that the weather cleared. The idea would be, all right, let's play the clinching game of the division series. Let's throw the first pitch at 9:45. So this thing's over at 2 in the morning.
Yep.
That's the best way, Major League Baseball? Just make the call, man. Play it today, which is what they ended up doing anyway. Make that call at 7 o'clock. Send people home. Shut it down. How stupid.
We knew when we left here yesterday that it was likely to be rained out.
Of course. Just call it.
It's crazy.
Let people sit in there till 9:30.
I like that it's got people fired up that it's a pro Yankee conspiracy. That the game was canceled.
That's ridiculous, obviously.
Here's the best part of it.
I like it though.
So let's go ahead and let's reschedule this, but let's put it at 4 o'clock.
So I guess
it's a game 5, winner take all. The only series that has given you any juice in the playoffs.
I think that it's probably their answer to that would be, well, the NLCS, doesn't it start tonight? Padres and Phillies. So they don't want to go head-to-head with that.
They should.
And they don't want to – and I think you play – if you win, you play tomorrow night in Houston.
Correct.
So they've got to get them on their way. They are so bound by their television, and it apparently isn't malleable, which doesn't make sense to me because it feels like TBS can put on whatever they want whenever they want to do it. Like this D. Wade show that was airing last night that I never even knew existed.
I never knew it existed. It's awful.
Just move it all back a day.
When that abomination 18-inning 0-0 game happened, they ran the whole Guardians-Yankees game on TNT just like at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be Step Brothers and Blades of Steel.
Perfect.
So they can run whatever they want.
Yeah. So just move it all back. Push it back a day. What's the harm? Say, we're going to start the ALCS on Thursday instead of Wednesday. There. Problem solved. It's ridiculous.
This is why we need a sports czar to just make sure, do some common sense stuff here.
You have to have a little of it. So this game is at 4 o'clock today. And we'll see where – I don't know what any of this means. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know I follow these teams. I don't. I've jumped on a bandwagon in October.
I hope they win.
Well, clearly, yeah, but I don't know.
Let's go.
I have no idea what it means for us or them or whatever. Apparently, our bullpen's better or something. I don't know.
It is.
Right.
And more well-rested.
All right. And so they're – like our closer hasn't pitched since what, Friday? Saturday? No, he pitched Saturday. He pitched 2 innings Saturday. So theoretically, he could go a lot if need be, but who knows? We'll see how it goes. 4 o'clock on that one. I mean, make a call.
Yeah.
Just make a call on it. It's not that hard. Lots to get to on the program today. We will go around the league coming up next. We've got one thought on all of the games on Sunday. Always a lot of fun to be had there. Jack Conklin, you'll hear that coming up a little bit later in the program as well. A little bit of better or worse coming up as well. As we're off and running here on a Tuesday edition, Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Authority gives you that bathroom of your dreams in about a day, guys. You can transform your current bathroom into a custom bath for a spa-like experience. Let the Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority is our area's premier bath and shower remodeler, expert factory-trained installers. You give them a call now, you get $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. Call 216-220-8399 or go to thebathauthority.com. It's where the affordability meets the quality. The largest selection of bath projects are all made right here in the United States. Superior products and expert installers at thebathauthority.com. 216-220-8399 on that. As we go around the league, boy, there's a lot to – the injuries are starting to stack in this league, brother. We're 6 weeks in. We mentioned the injury to Russ coming out of it. That his injury has happened, among others. Hollywood Brown suffering a non-surgical fracture in his foot. Brown is expected to miss 6 weeks. They're saying he's out indefinitely. That's right on the cusp if you could cut him or not.
For fantasy?
Well,
I think
you
you
cut
him.
Cut him at that point, 6.
If it is 6 weeks, I mean, you'd be very fortunate with that. But DeAndre Hopkins coming back, they just traded for Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna have they'll be fine. And DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is gonna be very busy.
Yeah. Commanders quarterback Carson Wentz is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks after fracturing a finger on his throwing hand on Sunday. That would allow for that's Heineke in, and then Sam Howell, the kid out of North Carolina, who a lot of people over there like a lot, is the backup now at that point. My hunch is, like, what would be the point? They're going to go in the tank here. Like, what's the point of bringing Wentz back? Don't you just roll Heineke and then see if you have something with Howell?
My guess is that's exactly what's going to happen.
I don't know why you would ever bring him back
probably
at
done.
this point. Yeah. And then you have to wonder, is he done as a starter?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So then the question becomes, and this will be the same question for Baker, are you somebody who can be a backup? Can you come in and not rock the boat too much as a backup?
And
my
the
hunch is
difference
that no.
He will not have a TV career that could potentially be there for Baker.
No, but he did get a contract, and Baker did not. So that's he's going to go back. He go hunt and fish in North Dakota is what he's going to do.
Sure.
Yeah, Baker will end up on college football television in short order.
Yeah.
Whether at ESPN or at Fox, he'll be at one of those places. Whenever the NFL is done, that's where that'll go. Packers wide receiver Randall Cobb suffered an ankle injury, expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks after being carted off the field with Sunday's loss. One thing on this, did you guys hear the sound from Aaron Rodgers postgame?
I did not.
So did you hear this?
I did.
So he goes, they said, what would you like to see changed about the offense? And he goes, simpler. Just simpler.
And he said, it's not a shot at anybody.
Yeah.
No personal attacks.
Mhm.
Like, we have to simplify things.
Okay. So then did you hear the conversation to Matt LaFleur yesterday?
No.
How the question was posed. So time to interview Matt LaFleur.
Hello.
The reporter has the information of what was said yesterday by Rodgers. He frames the question. This isn't exactly word for word. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the gist. This was it. Are you surprised that Aaron Rodgers says that you need a simpler offensive game plan? So think about the phrasing of how I phrased that to you.
Right. So
if you're Matt LaFleur, you're all of a sudden going,
you're defensive. Right. Yeah.
right. So this is a great leading. This is one of your great gifts, the leading of the witnesses.
Of course.
So you lead the witness, which leads to LaFleur to kind of smirk and goes, I don't even know what that means. Is his reaction to it. Rodgers, he loves this stuff. But this, I actually give the A+ for the writer, because his job is to, this doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't really serve the fan base. It doesn't serve Rodgers and LaFleur. It serves him, because now he has a talking point. Because now LaFleur has responded to something that, because of the way that it's phrased, he probably reacted differently had he just heard what Rodgers had to say.
I think, and for Rodgers, it, number one, detracts from the fact that he's not playing his best football. Number two, it detracts from the fact that they're losing. Now it's going to be about, is LaFleur doing something wrong, right? So he's kind of taking the spotlight off of himself. He hasn't thrown for 275 yards in 7 straight games, which is the longest streak of his career.
I wouldn't have had that. Well, I mean, he's 6 games into this year, and it's been bad.
Yeah,
So
and
then
now
playoff
you
game
hear
last year.
Pelissero saying they're in the market for receiver talent. Christian Watson's given them absolutely nothing.
Maybe you shouldn't have gotten rid of the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL.
I'm not sure that they could have paid him, though. Wasn't that the issue there? Like they weren't going to be able to pay all those
I
people?
wonder, under true serum, knowing everything that's happened, if Rodgers and if Adams himself would have said, I'd have rather stayed there, because he's not exactly lighting it up with the Raiders.
No, he's not. I guess what you're hoping for is a fire sale somewhere, but I don't know where else it would be.
Supposedly Chase Claypool is available and that the Packers are interested in him, which would be a good fit in that offense.
Well, did you guys see the report out of Pittsburgh yesterday that the reason for the Kenny Pickett play early in the season was the dust-up between Deontay Johnson and Mitch Trubisky in the locker room? What game was that? 2 weeks ago when they went to Pickett for the very first time?
Yep.
And there was a dust-up, and one of the Pittsburgh writers wrote this today, that their sources were saying that the reason that Tomlin went to Pickett when he did is because Trubisky got into it. Johnson went at Pickett, or went into Trubisky and said, why don't you throw me the ball? And that's what led Tomlin to make that change then.
And he had no comment on that today, did Mike Tomlin. But, I mean, listen.
But I mean,
Kenny
it speaks
Pickett's
to
still in concussion protocol.
Right. But it speaks to, like, things have gotten – you think about what that organization was for the longest time, and, my God, I look at them with envy and go, what a run. Tremendous. But they had little stuff with Juju, stuff with Claypool, stuff with Johnson and Trubisky now. They had stuff with Le'Veon Bell. Like, it's a little messy.
Yeah. I think Deontay Johnson
They've been overcome it because they've had such great talent. But I'm surprised that Tomlin would do that for that reason.
Deontay Johnson's frustrated because he's averaging 40 yards a game, and he's used to averaging 75 yards a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Guess what? The NFL is really popular. Bills Chiefs, 25 million.
That's crazy.
Viewers, week 6.
That's crazy.
That's why in the second quarter of our game on Sunday, there's always a flex pod that can move up so that there's only 3 breaks left in the fourth quarter. Just about every game, flex pod came into play. So that way, all of the 1 o'clock games would be done in time for kickoff, and all eyeballs would be on Bills Chiefs. They tried to speed up everything. Now, we did our best to try and screw that up. We came close. I think it was like 3 minutes before kickoff. But literally every game at 1 o'clock was going to be made a priority to get done in a timely fashion for 425.
What did that game go up against? What was the other? There was a Seattle game that was on.
Yes, at 425 on
and
Sunday.
And the Rams. It was Rams, Seattle, and that. I think those were the only 3 games that went.
Correct.
That night. Because everything else was early or else Thursday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, it would have been. So with that
it was
being
Rams-Panthers.
Yeah, Rams-Panthers, Seattle.
Seahawks.
Yeah, I knew it was the Seattle and the Rams. I remember seeing them on the red zone when I got home. I think equally impressive. Alabama, Tennessee did 11.5 million. Now, it is not running unencumbered. In fact, it was a loaded day of college football that was spread out over on a given college football Saturday, there's like 12. If you have cable, there's 12 games going at once.
It's wild.
Pick whatever you want. Every game is on. You can find it. I promise you. And this game had competitors. It was a good weekend in college football. There were 6 undefeated matchups. The first time since 2011 or something like that that's been the case this far into the season. There were 6 of them. And this was one of them. This is a game that features one school that's located in Knoxville, Tennessee, and another one located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
That's right.
And it did 11.5 million people on CBS nationally. That is an enormous number of people.
Dude, football is king. I mean, period, the end.
The other thing, well, football is king, but the other thing is, here's what we really like. We like really watching greatness. You know, forever in all of these sports, and we deal with this all the time around here, you got to get to a big market. I'm going to tell you, it's got nothing to do with that. We want to watch greatness. Buffalo's great, so we like watching them. Mahomes is great. It doesn't matter that they're in Buffalo or Kansas City. It's completely irrelevant.
Yes.
And the same is true from Alabama and Tennessee. They're great. Bama's great. It doesn't matter where it is. Tennessee's really good this year. They got a really good quarterback in Hendon Hooker. They were starting to build a narrative. People checked it out, dialed into it. Market's irrelevant in football.
Yeah.
You just want to watch good.
Good football.
That's it.
And even bad football, dreadful football will get you $9 million on a streaming network.
Got you $9 million on a streaming going up head-to-head with baseball, this first, or not that this is huge, but the first or second night of NHL, depending on where you were, there were a lot of competitors for that garbage game between the Commies and the Bears on Thursday, and it still did 8.7 streaming.
Yeah.
I found this very interesting. The Tennessee Titans have an agreement in place with the city of Nashville to build a new $2.1 billion dome stadium. Completion date by the 2026 season, pending further approval. Smart, brilliant, in fact, because guess what? Nashville is now going to host Super Bowls. Nashville's going to host college football playoffs. It's going to host the SEC championship game. It's going to host WrestleMania. It's going to host concerts year-round. Nashville is already a hub. Now it can do all of that. There's literally nothing restricting their city from hosting anything big, period, ever.
And that's why, should the Browns ever decide to build a new stadium, that's exactly why it should be a dome.
Yes,
we have all of the hotel space. We're set up for a convention town. Now you have an
multiple
opportunity
airports
for Big Ten championships in a variety of sports. You have an opportunity for big-time soccer games. You have opportunities for Super Bowls, WrestleManias, all the things that you listed out that draw huge audiences and bring a lot of money into your economy that are only feasible with domes. It's why these things happen in Minnesota. It's why these things happen in Indianapolis, and why these things will happen in Chicago, certainly when they build that, why they will happen in Nashville. That allows you to do something year-round and draw the biggest games and biggest events to your city.
By the way, that's a nice stadium. That's underrated when we've gone there.
What, Nashville?
Yeah.
It's solid.
That stadium's pretty nice. So the Andrew Brandt Business of Sport, his breakdown, $2.1 billion stadium, $840 million from Titans ownership, NFL, and PSLs. $500 million payment. Now, he said from the city of Nashville. One of the Nashville reporters said $500 million payment from the state of Tennessee, not city of Nashville. That was the governor's call a bit ago. $760 million from revenue bonds repaid through 1% hotel tax and sales tax. And, I mean, Nashville's the new Vegas. So
Vegas.
That's some nice money coming in.
Here's the thing, just to buttress your point on if there's ever, well, eventually there'll be a new stadium here at some point. Who knows when? But if there is, it should be domed for all the reasons of creature comforts and amenities and all of that. It should be a climate control. By the way, most of these guys in the league, you think about it, a kid goes to Michigan, most of their roster is from Michigan. A kid goes to Ohio State, most of their roster is from Ohio State. Yeah, sure, they get guys from around the country. In the NFL, you get guys from everywhere. And you want it to be a place that's attractive to play in, and a dome is attractive to play in.
Yes.
Why have elements if you don't have to?
Of course.
So that's just from that perspective.
And there's ways to get it so that you're playing on natural grass.
Of course.
Like, figure that out. I'd like a dome, and I would like natural grass. I'd like to have it all, and I feel like I can do that.
I agree with you. I think both those things should be done. There's a couple other factors here to remember. If you did so, you would be the only domed stadium in the state of Ohio, and you will always forever only be the only one. They're never going to build one in Cincinnati. They're not going to do one in Columbus because they've got the shoe. And Columbus could get organized and get a stadium like that built. I believe it. But they can't do it with the shoe. The shoe's the shoe. It's a historical landmark. They can't do it.
And what did you tell me about what's going to happen?
Well, I'm getting there, sir.
Oh,
Mr. Segura, I'm getting there.
Yes.
You could now be in line to bid on the Big Ten championship game, which currently is in Indy all the time. They were going to try to play it in Minneapolis. It's just too difficult, and they got to make sure Ohio State and Michigan can drive to it.
Did they play it in Chicago ever?
Never. No.
They had talked about it.
They will.
Yeah.
When they put a dome in, they will.
Yeah.
You could host the Big Ten championship game. Here's the other thing. The college football playoff is going to 12 teams. So what that's going to require is the first round of games will be at home sites. But those home teams will have the ability, if they want, to go to climate control. And the athletic director at Ohio State, Gene Smith, said this a month ago. We would be more likely to go to Indy and play a game than play a game in the elements at the Horseshoe, because no one wants to sit in that stadium in the middle of December and
on a
freeze
steel bench.
On a steel bench when you can got a dome to go play in. Guess what? His team's really good and they want to play in perfect conditions, right? So that's part of it. So you can do that. Potentially, there would be not one but two games for you to bid on each year in the college football playoff, let alone the college football national championship game, which is last year was played in Indy.
That's right.
I don't know. The sport was birthed from this state's loins.
That's
Be
right.
nice to be able to play the game here every now and again.
Yep.
By the way, the whole dome thing, AFC South, You're looking at Tennessee with a dome, Indy with a dome, Houston with a dome. Jacksonville's your fourth one, but it's in Florida.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just smart business.
Yep.
Speaking of smart business, the NBA season, I didn't realize it started tonight. Real quickly, NBA and NHL, give me a minute. Back up a month. Both of you. Start at the end of November. Start December 1. I can't
Christmas
do
Day
all this.
if you're
Well,
the
that
NBA.
I'd love that too. I can't do all this now. There's too much going on.
Too much going on.
You're going to get lost. Absolutely lost.
It's a good doubleheader
problem is
tonight,
it
too,
just-
in the NBA.
It just goes so long then because the playoffs are so long in the NBA.
Right. It's just move this thing back.
Yeah.
So you've got NBA beginning tonight. Warner Discovery, which are overseers of Turner now, has agreed to a long-term extension with the 4 members of the Inside the NBA crew, Chuck, Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq, all for multiple seasons, upward of 10 on Chuck. His money reportedly approaching $200 million over the 10 years. He's worth every penny. The interesting thing here, Gibby, and you said this yesterday, their contract runs out when?
2026, I believe.
Okay.
With the NBA. 24 or 26.
24 would be really quick. If that happens, they're either A, they're getting a lien saying, yeah, you're going to get the NBA
You're
back.
getting it. Yep.
And this is going to be the rate for that, which is going to be astronomical. Or B, there's something in these contracts that say if we don't have it, you're free to leave. There's no way they would bomb themselves to $200 million if they're not doing it inside the NBA.
Right. That's right.
Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated. Whether you join as a customer's employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. One thing around the league coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. You're selling a home with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, always a winning strategy. If you plan to make a move this season, they're going to have you covered. At Howard Hanna, every day is game day. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. Time for one thought on every game around the league. Hello, Gibby.
Hello, boys.
How are you, buddy?
Paula's hit the traveling music. Let's have a little fun on it, too. There we go. A little loud. That's all right. How about this tweet, by the way, from Field Yates? Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers have combined for one game with 20-plus fantasy points this season.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Rough.
they've been bad.
They've all been bad.
They've been bad.
Yeah.
In fact, offense in general, I think, has been down across the league.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I even think about the Bills-Chiefs game from Sunday. We haven't had the shootouts like we thought we would have.
No.
And
Seattle-Detroit was probably the biggest shootout of the year.
Yeah.
Jared Smith, I don't know who he is, lead betting analyst at Pickwise. Speaking of your scores.
Uh-huh.
If you bet $100 on every under in the NFL this season, you'd be up $1,500.
That's
Wow.
And there it is.
There you go.
How about them apples? All right, week 6 in the NFL. We go one thoughts, and we kick off with Sunday Night Foosball. And the Philadelphia Eagles, remaining undefeated at 6-0. They hold off a second-half rally by the Cowboys, 26-17. Bo Bishop, lead us off one thought.
Look, I mean, we've had a lot of superlative things to say about Philly. They're deserving of all of it. I'm not certain that with Dak Prescott, the Cowboys aren't the second-best team in the NFC. I think they're really good defensively. I think they can run it with Dak, spin it a little bit. I think
Dak
they might be
should
the
be back
second-best
this
team in the NFC.
Cooper Rush did exactly what he was supposed to do, not win them any games, not
Yeah.
lose them any games, and they were able to, on the strength of their ground game and their strength of their defense, win some games. But you could tell they were desperate for somebody who could make plays down the field. And so that coming back, I think, is going to be very good for them. I like that take. I think that they're certainly in the discussion as an elite team in the NFC, which is in large part because the NFC is down.
It's bad.
Next, the game of the week in the NFL. Buffalo 24, Kansas City 20. The Bills are on top of the AFC supremacy scale, at least for the regular season. Nathan Zagura, one thought from you.
Yeah, sad that I turned my back on the Bills. I had them, but in unison, 9-5 for us this week. There's certainly no shame in that. We did pretty darn good. Allen and Mahomes are as fun to watch as anybody in the league. Period. This is a pure joy football game, and I loved it. Loved every second of it that I got to see.
Yeah, I think Allen is, in retrospect, I remember my kind of thinking of around him at the time of the draft, thinking, could you teach accuracy to somebody? And the reality was at that point it felt like no. Historically you couldn't. Like either you were accurate or you weren't. He was wildly inaccurate early in his career, but he's the perfect example of the perfect ball of clay being nurtured in the perfect way, and you get this ultimate weapon that you get. These two do it. I love what you said. They are pure joy. They do it completely different ways, but both of them, my God, and they both have this. They're just really cool, likable guys. Mahomes, despite his brother being kind of a dude, but even Allen, like you saw him give the ball to the little kid. I will say this: this doesn't mean anything for the playoffs.
No.
That's why
Nothing.
I said,
But it's a really
congratulations,
fun
regular
you're the
season
champs
game.
of the
It's
AFC
great.
in the
Yeah.
regular
It
season.
means nothing.
It could mean that you get to host.
Yes, which they haven't. They've had to go through Kansas City,
Right. Which
and
could be a
they've
big deal.
lost. Yeah, which could be for them.
Up next, probably a pretty popular survivor pool play this week. The Rams taking out Carolina 24-10. Rams back on track and back to 500 at 3-3. Bishop.
I think the Rams, they'll be very active in the next month or so. We know they're going to move Cam Akers. If they can find some takers there, I think they will be popular landing spot for buyout. I think they benefit tremendously by playing in what has kind of ended up being a bad division.
Totally.
Quickly. So as quickly as we were to write them off, not so fast. I think they could be very active. I still don't love them, but I don't love the NFC.
I see.
And I still think there's some things that they could do to add to that team here in the next month.
They're flawed, and I don't see them beating, as of now, barring major injuries, I don't see them beating Philly or beating the Cowboys because I don't think they can protect their quarterback well enough.
But do you think they are what they'll be in a month in
on
terms
the
of a
line,
roster?
and Matt Stafford doesn't look great.
No, he doesn't. But he's beaten too.
He throws
Like,
pick sixes, but I think he's going to continue to be beaten.
How many more draft picks do you have to trade away if you're
Not
the Rams,
many.
though?
And
It'll be more buyout.
the Panthers are so bad.
Yeah.
It was they're dreadful. We have in our power rankings, the guy from the Panthers was just unloaded on them. They are 32nd, as you'd expect. It's really, we should have blown them out, and obviously we know why we did not. We almost lost that game, as a matter of fact, and that was really, in many ways, a portent of things to come on the defensive side of the football. But, yeah, the Rams are still flawed. Yes, they beat the Panthers. If you didn't, it would have been,
Covered
season
too,
over.
though. It was 10, and they covered it.
Yeah.
All right, to the NFC West we stay. And a big one with Seattle and Geno Smith taking down Cliff, Kyler, and the Cardinals. 19-9. Seattle 3-3 on the year. Arizona drops to 2-4. Zagura, one thought.
Arizona is in many ways what we thought they were, and I don't know why they kept Cliff around. If you're going to keep Kyler, it felt like you probably need to do something different at the offensive coordinator, head coach spot. Kingsbury is every year it feels like he gets figured out earlier and earlier. They're bad right now. Yes, they're going to get DeAndre Hopkins back, but I thought just Arizona is brutal, and there's too much talent there. And maybe Kyler's not doing what he's supposed to do, and that's why they put the clause in there, but it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster down there, and they did not used to be a disaster. They used to be a darn good, dangerous offense, at least early in the season. They always were. And
Go back to a year ago at this time. They were probably
undefeated,
6-0.
6-1.
Yeah.
Well, they
5-1.
boat raced us a year ago this time.
No doubt. The other thing is Kenneth Walker III. This rookie running back class, I don't understand why teams insist on, waiting to integrate them.
I never understand it.
Walker, look at Breece Hall. Now that he's becoming the guy, the guy's a superstar. Let these guys, if they're good, let them play.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm guessing it's tied to pass protection, but even
Fine,
still,
then let
get
them
them
play.
ready. Get them ready. Sort it out. Pete Carroll could coach. I had this going the other way. I thought they were going to lean into the tank, make sure they pick number one. They're not. They're better. They're getting a lot of really good play out of Geno Smith, too, and they're going to hang around.
I still want to fight Pete Carroll. That's fine.
Why don't you like Pete Carroll?
I don't know. I just rubs me the wrong way.
All right.
Anytime something goes bad, I feel like he runs and just leaves his past situation in a tattered mess. Up next, it's one of many reasons. I want to fight him, and I want to fight Horseface Elway. Up next, the Jets take down the Packers 27-10. Jets have won 4 of 5, 3 in a row. The hottest team, arguably, in the National Football League. The Packers going the other way, now 3-3 in the NFC North Division. Bishop.
Well, we saw this coming with the Jets. Not them
I love
destroying
the
Green
Jets.
Bay. You've loved them from a while. There's a lot to
you
love.
did.
They're really, really talented. They're really good up the middle on defense. They got a coach that they believe in. They got some juice. Sauce Gardner, he's been amazing. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, they're good. It's a really good team. Quickly, and it's a good job out of them. Green Bay's got real issues.
They had an unbelievable draft. They've got skill position talent. They're fun to watch. They are more than frisky. We absolutely should have beat them. I remember at that time I said I'm glad we got the Jets early because this team is going to be better and better as the season goes on, and that's starting to become very, very true. The Packers, they are broken. Aaron Rodgers, he is such an interesting guy because he is such a diva and then tries to act like he's not a diva.
It is. You're right. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. He acts like he's no big deal, no frills, but he's all the frills.
He's all of them.
Yeah.
And then he'll go on McAfee and
Act like no big deal. Yeah.
It's wild.
All right, up next, the team we face this weekend, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ratbirds lose to the New York Football Giants, 24-20. Giants now 5-1 on the year. The Ratbirds 3-3, still atop the AFC Norris division. Zagura, one thought.
So I just watched this entire game.
Yes, you
Lamar on the final 2 possessions dropped a snap, picked it up, scrambled, ran around, and then threw an awful interception. And then he fumbled, sack strip fumble at the end of the game. So last 2 possessions, turnovers. He has been these numbers are staggering to me. First 3 games of the year, 10 passing touchdowns, 2 picks. Last 3 games, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks. Quarterback rating by quarter. First 98, second 115, third 101, fourth 56.
Sheesh.
1 touchdown, 4 interceptions in the fourth quarter. Their offense, though, is fun to watch. That Patrick Ricard is unlike anybody else in the league, and he paved the way for a 30-yard touchdown, a couple of massive runs. They don't throw it to anybody but Mark Andrews. And I know Bateman's been out.
Yeah.
But Mark Andrews has 39 catches on the season. The next 3 receivers on their team have 38 combined.
Jeez.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then on the Giants standpoint, they are gritty. Their defense flies to the ball. They play with a lot of passion. They tried everything to get that offense going. They ran Wildcat like 4 different times with Saquon. That was actually a fun game to watch. The Ravens, you felt like should have won it, but they don't have a second gear. We can run it. Lamar's going to make some crazy keepers. He ran for another 76 yards effortlessly, or 77, and then Mark Andrews is the offense.
Brian Daboll can coach it, and he can inspire people. There's full buy-in.
Yep.
Total.
Week in and week out, there's buy-in.
All right, up next, Bo, you'll lead us off here.
Yep.
The Vikings have won 4 in a row. They're 5-1. We mentioned it yesterday. The only team with a winning record in the NFC North, NFC South, and NFC West. Vikings 5-1. They take down Miami 24-16. Dolphins have lost 3 in a row.
So I don't put much into it from the Dolphins standpoint because they're playing with all these different
Skylar
quarterbacks.
Thompson.
It was Bridgewater played a little in this game too, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's just talk about this from a Vikings standpoint. The scheduling gods did them very, very good. Now they got an impressive win at the time over Green Bay. They lose to Philly 24-7. From there, they beat the Lions at home, the Saints at home, Lions by 4, Saints by 3, Bears.
Saints was London, yep.
Bears, yeah, London, right? And then Dolphins without Tua. So, what are they? They're very clean. But here's the deal: they get they get Arizona, Washington the next 2, then at Buffalo, and then Cowboys at home. You really won't know about. I'm not sure on Minnesota yet because of how weak the schedule is.
And they're going to beat teams they should beat, and that's what they're doing
Yeah.
right now. They've
Yeah.
got a lot of talent. They're a fun team to watch. Zadarius Smith, by the way, this is the next-gen stat of the game in this excellent thing we got handed out to us here by Gibbe and Connor. 10 quarterback pressures and 2 sacks on 40 pass rushes. 10 in one game. So I think they've got a lot of talent. I like that team. I like the Vikings.
Up next, the shocker of the week in Week 6. The Squealers improved to 2-4. They take down Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-18 at the former Heinz Field. I don't remember what their new name is. I don't really care. One thought, Zigra.
The Bucs are broken. We have said that time and time again. Tom Brady is just not what he was. Their receivers, they don't look to be dynamic in any way, shape, or form. And to lose this game is absolutely stunning. It is stunning. By the way, this is the first game the Steelers have ever won without T.J. Watt since he was drafted. They were 0-8 prior to that.
Who's more broken, by the way, Tampa Bay or Green Bay?
It's a good question. I think Tampa.
Brady hasn't been awful. I mean, it's 8 touchdowns, 1 pick. No, he's not been great, but he's been fine. 68% completion, 275 a game, 8 touchdowns a pick. Yeah, I think this was the most shocking loss of the weekend. Was this one?
Yeah,
This by far was. They were 8-point favorites against Pittsburgh. He's got a lot going on in his life, and it shows with the way that team is playing. I mean, think about it. Like, he went away for 2 weeks in camp. He doesn't practice on Wednesdays. He went to Bob Kraft's wedding on Friday. It's just a lot of weird behavior.
Didn't fly with the team.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Up next, guys, in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts, a couple weeks ago, dead and buried. Now tied for basically first place. I think they're a half game out with that tie. 3-2-1. They take down Jacksonville, one team that we just can't seem to figure out. Final score, 34-27. Bo, one thought.
Yeah, my thought will be with Jacksonville. So week 2, they beat the Colts 24-0. Week 3, they beat the Chargers in LA 38-10. Then they lost a game when they were up against Philly 29-21. They were at 14-0, I believe, in that game. The last 2 weeks they lost to the Texans and the Colts. They've lost 3 in a row. it's almost like whatever they had going into Philly, broken, gone. And it doesn't make sense to me. And I think he doesn't get the attention because he's playing in Jacksonville, but the Trevor Lawrence thing is pretty wild. For all of the talk of Fields and all of this stuff, Lawrence has been fine, but they didn't draft him to be fine. He's a 65% passer. It's 232 yards a game, 9 touchdowns, 4 picks on the year. It's just not what he was drafted to be. You think about what Herbert was in year 2? He was a more sure thing than Herbert coming out.
Totally. Well, he was ruined. I mean,
Maybe.
I think he was entering this year less of a prospect than he was entering the league because of the negative impact last year had on his development. As for the Colts, Deion Jackson comes in for Taylor, 10 catches in a zone out of the backfield. Pittman had 13. Alec Pierce is a guy we had talked quite a bit about with the Browns. He's playing very well for them. They're not great, the Colts. I mean, we've seen them now enough times to know that they're not great, but that was a big win for them. And the other thing that's clear to me after just watching highlights of this game is that, much like we were talking about Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker in Seattle, it's time to give Travis Etienne a bigger workload.
Go!
Like, he's clearly better and more explosive than James Robinson.
Yeah.
All right, up next, we got 2 games left. It's about 90 seconds left here. The other big surprise from Week 6, I think, Falcons 28, 49ers 14, 49ers 3-3, Atlanta 3-3. They should be 4-2 and on top of the NFC South. Zagura.
Question: what's the Falcons' record against the spread this year?
It's got to be close to undefeated.
It is, in fact, all the way there, 6-0 against the spread.
Not so gutless.
28-14.
No.
By the way, happy birthday, not Pedro. Pedro.
Happy
birthday today.
Hey.
He had called this.
Enjoy the coffee.
He called this game, by the way.
He did call it.
He called it.
His credit.
Mariota was 10
stats.
of 10 at one point. He finishes 13 of 14 for 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, 50 yards, and another touchdown. He's solid. Like, he can make plays if they're there to be made. He's good with his legs. They are a physical team up front. They run it hard. They get after it, and the Niners are as decimated by injury as anybody in the NFL, and that is tough.
Kyle stayed at the Greenbrier. He stayed in West Virginia this week. They played East last week, and so he stayed East instead of going back. I wonder if all that's worth it, all that stuff, versus just flying home, being in your own bed.
I would feel like it would be distracting.
I think so, too. I think it'd be weird to stay in a hotel for 5 days.
It's long enough when you do it in the preseason.
Like, it's a nice place, but you've been there, I've been there. It's old, and, like, there's a lot going on. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It feels like it would be distracting for me to be there. Yeah.
All right, one final game real quick. Bengals 30, Saints 26. Saints playing without their top 3 wide receivers, yet still had a chance and blew this one to fall to 2-4.
2 things. Bengals went primarily shotgun in the second half, and they got going big time. Burrow was excellent in the second half of this game. And the other thing is, pay attention to the first time you see Burrow and Chase. So this is the first time the Saints saw them. There are little things that they do when you see them multiple times a year that you can pick up on. But when they play teams for the first time, like if you have those, you're going to play them anyway. But pay attention to what those two do when a team hasn't seen them before, and New Orleans hadn't, and they cooked them.
And I think it was also big they got T. Higgins back. T. Higgins
helps
that offense immensely.
One final thing, guys. Guardians just posted their lineup and their starter for today, which is in 2 hours. Aaron Savale will get the start today for the Guardians in Game 5.
And that's because they don't want Biebs on short rest.
I'm sure he'll be available if they need him.
I bet everybody's available. It's Game 5.
You got to get it done.
You throw them out there.
All right, second hour of the program coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the official printer partner of your Cleveland Browns. While you depend on your Browns to win, you can always depend on OBM because we can tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. So you want us to put the Patriots game to bed? Do you feel any different than we did yesterday?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
No,
normally he asked me for that segment.
I know.
It's frustrating.
I just
Am
want.
I on?
You're on. You're on. What is your enthusiasm for life right now? You are a man who gulps life. It's Pedro's birthday.
Pedro's birthday, yeah.
What is a birthday like for Pedro in your youth?
It's a much better topic.
Good question. My guess is if we would have gone to my Nani and Nano's, gone to San Francisco for his birthday, would be my guess. There wasn't a big.
Were there certain things that were wanted? Was he a big? What was little young Nathan? What was like?
He just wanted a good meal.
Good meal.
Yeah.
Don't you find that's all that you want?
Yeah. For
That's
my
really all I
birthday,
want.
I
Yeah.
just want to be around the people that I want to be around and, have a good meal. Yeah.
That's it.
Totally.
It's really the
Have
meal.
a nice
I don't.
bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's it. I don't. The rest.
Have someone else pick up the tab because he's always picking up the tab.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
Be nice. Be nice.
Yeah.
What's the celebratory thing for him today?
So he said he's having I'm going to call him when we get out of here, but he said he's having a big dinner tomorrow, and then he's coming to town for.
He's coming here.
Yeah, for Bryce's bar mitzvah. He's coming to town for 10 days.
In your stead?
In my stead.
How are you going to do the quarters, the chambers?
We'll see. It's gonna be a lot, but it's gonna be exciting. So for his birthday, I've ordered a couple things, put aside a few things. So we'll break out some good. I'll make him a big dinner and give him a good bottle of wine for his birthday celebration.
He'll love that. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe you should come in and be a celebrity picker on Friday for the scores.
He can do that because it's going into the bye week. He'll be here the Friday going into the bye week, and he'll be here also the Friday going into. I don't think he gets here in time the Friday going into the bye week, but he'll be here in time Friday going into the Miami.
We're not going to
game.
be here hopefully the Friday going into the bye week.
You are aware that the threshold for parentals in your home is about 5 nights, and that anything other than that, it gets real dicey.
Yeah, well, we're going to put them in. We have a new bedroom on the bottom floor, so they will have
quarters.
We're going to give them their own floor where they will have a TV. They will have, and they know that it's a lot of time.
With a bedroom
and a bedroom in the basement, bathroom in the basement,
bar,
TV, the whole deal.
Various amenities. I have that.
Yeah.
I still find that 5 nights is
Yes.
tough.
They're going to do some things. They're planning on doing some things like without us.
Now you're onto something.
Because it's
now you're onto something.
Yeah. So
you got a chance.
Yeah. Because I'm going to be working quite a bit.
Yeah, you have a job.
Especially because I've got to prepare for that week. I'll not only have to prepare for the game against the Dolphins, I'll have to prepare for, Bryce's bar mitzvah. I got to get a good speech for the young fella, the big man.
No, you'll crush that.
That should be the least of your
very
worries.
good.
Well, the speech part.
Yeah.
NFL owner meetings, by the way, are going on today.
Okay.
In New York City, I believe.
Yeah.
All right.
Executive VP Troy Vincent doesn't mince words. They believe the NFL is popular because of great quarterbacks and keeping them healthy and active is a top priority. Quote, 91 of the most watched 100 TV shows were football.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because of the quality of play at the quarterback position from top to bottom. In other words, if you touch the quarterback, you're going to keep getting
It helps.
penalties.
I have no problem with them throwing the flag. I have a problem with it not being looked at and saying, okay, in this case, was there actually roughing the passer? Grady Jarrett, no. Chris Jones, no.
I have no problem with you protecting quarterbacks' knees and their arms and all of it, but there has to be a point where you can tackle them legally. And I would assume around the waist would constitute tackling them legally. And if you call roughing the passer, it ought to be something simple as going, let's take a look and make sure. Oh, he wrapped him around his waist. He kept his head away from the action, and he rolled him over to the ground.
Yep.
That's the job.
Yep.
So there's got to be a clean way to do it. Neither one of those injuries was there any intent to injure. If anything, they were both intending to not injure.
Totally.
Went to great lengths not to injure.
Out of their way to not injure.
Yeah.
Mike Florio responding to that report right there that you just gave, Gibbe, with the league has completely torn down the wall separating the integrity of the game and the financial interests of the business. At least they admit it.
I don't think that admits that at all.
I don't think it does either. It says we want to protect our quarterbacks, and we want that player safety is important. But I just think these things need to be reviewable because they are too game altering in what transpires. Look at you. Look at little Bo.
Oh, a little mini Bo. I like it.
Why'd you take him out of the formation? Why'd you move him away?
I wanted to put him on these coasters.
Okay.
And I just didn't get a real good look at him, and just the notion of like mini me, dealing with a couple of Joe Thomases and a Gibbe. Gibbe is a back. I'm gonna put Gibbe at center.
Gibbe's like, and then get me out there, right there.
Yeah, 16 running a post. I really like throwing a nice post.
I got the hand up. I'm passing.
Yeah, I like that.
Like Randy Moss.
I had we were practicing, the 5th graders. We practiced inside last night because it was inclement.
Yep.
So we rented a big indoor space with full soccer field and all this to go practice in. So I played scout team.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
How'd that go?
Pure joy. My buddy's running the defense on the other side. I go, hey, James Stropke's playing my receiver. I go, hey, dude, run a little out and up. Let's get him with a little out and up here. So I play fake the sweep. He runs an out and up. I hit him like 40 yards down the field. My buddy goes, yeah, that's great. I'm sure going to see a lot of 10-year-olds that throw it 40 yards down the field.
Yeah, right.
Thanks a lot for the look.
Yeah, good scout team.
Yeah, but it was so much fun.
Always be ready.
Oh, it was just so much fun to be able to be on the turf and spin it a little bit. Like I was talking to my buddies, the head coach. I'm like, honestly, I would just throw routes to them in here for an hour. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to get a look at that. Look, I mean, in terms of what we saw Sunday, just to put a ribbon on this thing, I stand by what I said yesterday. All of the little things that it was, if we could just have done this, if we could just have done this, all those little things happened in one game, and they compounded. And we don't have a margin for this to play poorly.
No.
We have to play really well, and if we play really well and we play mistake-free, we can beat a lot of teams. Not all, but a lot. But if we don't play really clean and we do all this undisciplined stuff, you get routed.
You get routed. And our defense, you look at the DVOA, we're still top 10 on offense. We're 31st on defense.
Yeah,
like bad. That is it's unacceptable. It is derailing our season.
It's shocking.
It's stunning. It
blows my mind that it's possible.
Blows my mind.
But it is.
But it is.
If a car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused your injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK, Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Jack Conklin coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bo here for my friends at Renew Home Exteriors, offering high-performance products that are durable, long-lasting, cost and energy-saving. They'll transform the look and efficiency of your home. Simple as that. The winter can wreak havoc on your roof. Ice and snow buildup can quickly turn into a major problem. Don't go into winter with concerns about your roof. In fact, with Renew Home Exteriors, get a new roof installed in 7 to 10 days for no money down and payments as low as $96 a month. 7 to 10 days, no money down, payments as low as $96 a month. Pretty doable. Plus, receive free gutter guards with your proof of purchase. Beautify your home with premium siding and roofing products at lower prices with Renew Home Exteriors. Visit renewestimate.com for more on that. Now here's Jack Conklin at the podium.
Hey, Jack, first of all,
guys are down 5 minutes.
today, was it an ankle?
Yeah, just got a little rolled up. It's nothing, just a little ankle sprain. I'll be fine.
I mean, so you expect to play this week?
Yeah, no issue.
Gotcha. And then what did the Patriots do so well? I mean, you guys entered the game number 1 in the league in rushing. So what did they do so well that kind of limited your effectiveness?
They came out with a good game plan, and we got to be able to finish more as an offensive line and open up those holes. And anytime you start falling behind and you got to start trying to catch up and pass, and it takes us out of our game. Our strength, everybody knows, is to run the ball, and we gotta do a better job at the beginning of the game so we can keep doing that at the end.
Yeah, Jack, obviously Jacoby's giving you 150% when he's out there. Just what did him getting up in front of the locker room after having such a tough afternoon, what did that mean to you guys?
I think that really just, shows the leader that he is. I think, it was a tough game. And, he had a tough game. We had a tough game. And, everybody around it. We didn't play complimentary ball. We didn't, when the defense gets turnover, we need to go score, and we didn't do that. And to be able to have him come up and address that in front of the team, when we're when we're struggling a little bit, I think that's big time. And now it's our job to respond and take what he said and move forward and fight our way back into position.
And as a veteran who you've played elsewhere, you've had success elsewhere as a team, you guys are going through this tough stretch right now in what many believe to be the softer portion of the schedule. I realize there's no easy games in the NFL, but now things get more difficult and you guys go into divisional play. So I guess, how do you guys mid-season here gather yourselves and kind of build some positive momentum when the schedule does get tougher?
I think really just sticking together. I've been talking to the guys about it. My last year in Tennessee, we were 2-4, and we ended up finishing 9-7 and making the AFC Championship game. It's about just catching some fire, getting on a roll, and it all starts this week in Baltimore, and we just got to start, making good plays and playing well as a complimentary ball as a team, and that'll start rolling along together.
Yeah, Jack, what gives you the confidence? What makes you think that Jacoby will play better and do better and kind of help get you guys going in the right direction?
Well, I think you look at every game besides yesterday. I think it was on us. We didn't run the ball at the beginning of the game, and anytime you guys drop back and pass the ball, I think 45 times we did, trying to play catch up, it's going to put the offense line and the quarterback in a tough position. And it comes down to how we start the game. We got to start faster and like I said, play complimentary ball. I think a lot of it comes down to the defense getting that turnover and us coming away with nothing, and kind of deflates the team. And we can't have that. We need all the momentum we can get right now to get ourselves going.
Hey, Jake, how tough is it losing Wyatt in the second quarter?
Oh, I mean, it's rough, and you have that. I'm trying to think of the word of the combination of us two playing together. Now, now going to year 3 and really knowing how the feel of the non-communication that we have just from playing next to each other for so long now. It's tough, but I'll credit Yelda for being able to step in and do a good job and fight. And I hope to get Wyatt back as soon as possible. And it's always tough not to have him out there.
Hey, Jack, I know some of the losses that were squandered, can't get them back. Here we are, Baltimore, Cincinnati, back to back. You're one game out of the division. How would you characterize these next 2 games?
I think it really comes down to a playoff mindset for us. It's about winning. We still have, like you said, the division ahead of us, and if we win those games, and they can't keep us out of the playoffs. So I think we got to go into that mindset now. A lot earlier in the year than you'd like to, but we still have that chance to our destiny's in front of us. We control it still, and it comes down to at Baltimore this week.
Hey, Jack, I know you can't really account for injuries. So how big is it to have guys like Yelda and Ethan who can step up, play very well and keep that line strong for you guys?
It's huge. And I give credit to those guys and really to Coach Callahan. He gets us in those situations, throughout camp and tries to instill in guys that, you're one play away. You don't know when your number is going to be called, and you got to prepare every week like you're going to start the game or you're going to play. And those backup guys, they really take that in, and you can tell when they come in, we really don't miss much of a beat, and they do a great job.
You're up.
All right, good stuff from Jack Conklin there. There's nothing quite like tailgating touchdowns and Twisted Tea. It tastes just like real iced tea. You know why? Because it's made with real brewed tea. Cool, refreshing with a 5% kick of alcohol. It's thirst down and gold. Twisted tea, hard tea, iced tea. Keep it twisted. You know what I had my first experience this morning?
What?
I don't know if you participate in this world or not. I had previously not. A release date on a sneaker. Have you done this before?
Like you're talking on the sneakers app? Yeah, where you try to go in the lottery.
So you're aware of this world. I'm aware that it existed, but
I'm
over
975.
So
you won?
NBC. Well, not for me. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, not for me.
But you won the lottery.
But I won the lottery. So now I don't know if it was
Unreal.
a coveted lottery or not, but it was for NBC. He wanted one pair of sneakers for basketball shoes. They dropped today at 10.
All right, so I'll tell you if it was which ones did he want? The
Well,
Air
some
Force
some
Ambush?
No, it was some LeBron sneaker in a
in
Laker
stock.
colorway. I think you can still get them. So I'm not sure if it was
This?
No. That's a basketball shoe. So anyway, I go to do this. So I was unaware of this. I go to buy the sneaker.
Yep.
And it said, okay, at 10 o'clock, like you got to get it. I'm like, well, is there really a sense of urgency on this? And then I think on some of these there really is. And I guess you said like there's a bunch of people that tried and couldn't.
Well, I don't see it because I don't see it as in stock, which leads me to believe that it is already. I'll have to pull up StockX here. What were they called?
It's a LeBron 20. So that gets to my point. So this was his one thing that he wanted for, we wanted this. And so, all right, I got to do it. We'll get it. We'll try and get it locked in. And I go to buy, and it's amazing. I was able to do it in 10 seconds on the app because you're connected with Apple Pay and you got all of it. So it's a 10-second process. So I think I got it. And then it goes, well, we'll see. We're checking. Like I thought once I bought, I'm good. Like my Amex is charged and we're rolling.
Is it
But that's not it.
The Violet Frost?
Yeah, that one, yeah.
All right. The retail was $200 on StockX. They're $225.
So I don't even know what any of that means.
So that means that it's not one that was an insane where it's like they're
well, I
all
would
gone
hope a
and they're
10-year-old
already
wouldn't
at
want
like
that.
500. Well, that's not even in the kid size. That's in the adult size. I'd have to look at the kid size. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So this was my first experience with this. But the problem is the kids do what you just did. See, when we wouldn't get a shoe, which I wasn't some kid who was getting every shoe I wanted anyway, never. But if you didn't, it's not like there was another option.
You
would just drive to another mall.
I was wearing knockoff Magic Converse from Payless Shoe Source is what I was rocking as a young man.
That's the operation.
Until I was able to get into
middle school is when I was able to
actually get some shoes.
That happened in middle school. But what you just did is what all the kids do. So they don't view it as like one of my Beamsy came in the other day. He's like, oh yeah, I want some dunks. I go, oh, do you? You want some dunks? He goes, yeah, look at these on StockX. I go, dude, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Your feet grow every 2 weeks. I'm not buying you dunk lows on StockX.
No, that's absurd.
You out of your mind?
Yeah, it's absurd.
I want to be a sneaker collector. Well, get a job.
Good.
That's how it works.
It's an expensive hobby, my friend.
Yeah, that's how you can sort that out.
I don't even see these available on the sneakers app anymore, so they must have been. Or did you get them off is it this app, or did you get off the Nike
I got it
app?
off of sneakers.
Off of that app right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, then they're not. They've sold out then. Whatever the initial drop was, it sold out.
All right. Well, I guess I got lucky. We'll do a little bit of Better Worse coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, Browns fans, skip the chore of laundry. Enjoy life, not laundry. Tide Cleaners offering 30% off dry cleaning for the month of October. Be entered to win 4 VIP Browns tickets to an upcoming home game. Just mention promo code Browns. Visit TideCleaners.com to find the closest location to you, and some exclusions may apply. Time for a little better or worse. We welcome in our good buddy AP to the program, and Gibbe. Hello, Gibbe.
Hi, boys.
What's up, buddy?
One bit of news. Tom Pelissero. I told you guys during the break, Black Friday football is officially coming.
Okay.
NFL and Amazon announced today Prime Video will exclusively stream a newly scheduled Black Friday game the day after Thanksgiving at 3 p.m. November 24th, 2023.
I find that start time to be quite intriguing.
That's what I was thinking, too.
3:00.
I'm surprised
Like,
that's you wouldn't go prime time. Go 7 o'clock on that one. Right?
I can't wrap my head around why they.
Probably because they're going to have a game at Thursday night.
And
They're going to own Thanksgiving, the
First of all, there's 3 games on Thursday. Yeah, there's
No,
3
but this
games.
is Friday, right?
3. Yeah. They
So,
feel
like,
like
Friday
people
you
are off.
play it-
People are off on Black Friday. You gone out. You got your Christmas tree maybe early in the morning. You want
Maybe.
to come home and
I mean, I still feel like the ratings would be
decorate the
higher
tree.
at 7 or 8 o'clock.
It would be, for sure. But I don't.
yeah. Maybe they're not allowed to compete with.
There is a lot of college football on.
Friday
Maybe they're
night.
trying to stay
Yeah.
out of that. They do. They play pretty fair with college football because they're aware of how good that Golden Goose is.
Yeah.
All right. Time for higher or lower, presented by our great friends at the Ohio Lottery. Before we get into this, compliments of ESPN's NFL Nation, my question for the 3 of you today: through 6 weeks of the NFL season, is the path to the Super Bowl tougher through the NFC or the AFC?
AFC all
Has
the
it
way.
changed?
No,
It hasn't changed.
because the 2 best teams are in the AFC, and we could litigate.
And I
Philly.
still feel like a chunk of the teams in the middle of the pack are AFC teams. That it's still a tough conference.
Look, I love the Philly story, but in the end, if you were coaching, if you were the owner of any NFL team that you thought was really good, and I gave you the option, you could play Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, or Josh Allen. You're picking Hurts 100 times out of 100.
Well, I think if you said
Because he hasn't done it.
you could have the rosters of the Bills,
but-
the Chiefs, or the Eagles. You'd take the
Take
Bills,
Bills
or the Chiefs because of.
Because of those. Yes. So that's why.
All right. The higher or lower, presented by the Ohio Lottery, ESPN NFL Nation. In addition to the updated rankings, they checked in with the NFL Nation reporters across the league, asked them to name one thing that we, the general public, got wrong about each team. Explore expectations that have been exceeded, expectations that have not, through 6 weeks of the season. First team up, your Cleveland Football Browns. They come in at number 23. 23. The Browns finished the 2021 season in the top 5 in lowest opposing QBR, fewest net yards per passing attempt, highest pass rush win rate. With virtually every starter back, that was supposed to translate into an elite defensive unit this season. Instead, Cleveland's defense has fallen apart. This is per Jake Trotter. The Browns are well outside the top 10 in all 3 of the aforementioned categories, but most telling, they now rank 31st in defensive efficiency. The Browns do have the talent to turn it around, yet nothing about their performances so far suggests they will. Zagura, higher, lower, or just right for the Cleveland Browns?
I think it's just right. I think that the Browns have not been a team of consequence, and rating 23rd reflects that, certainly. And so I don't know how you can argue with it. You know, could we beat Jacksonville? Maybe. Could we beat the Saints? I don't know. We lost to the Falcons. We should be higher, but we're 2-4, and we just got shellacked and did not look very good in that shellacking. We've lost games we should have won, and now we are losing games that we should lose. So no, it's not good, and I think that's fine. I don't know. The 2 teams we beat are behind us.
Yeah.
Bo?
Yeah. I think everything Jake writes here is why this, the defensive output is so stupefying because of everything that he writes here. Like, it's not like we were making
It's crazy.
It's funny. Like, I'm sure you deal with this too. AP, you'll deal with this at some point. But I have people come up to me. You guys said we're going to be great defensively. Yeah,
I did.
we should be.
Should be.
Look at what we were at the end of last season. Look what you added to this group. There's no reason for this group not to be better. The other thing I said is, one thing we harped on over and over in camp is, are we good enough in the middle of this defense And are we good enough at wide receiver? We harped on those things. We have no deep threat.
But you would say
But we've
that
still been very good
Amari's
offensively.
been great.
Yes,
Donovan
for sure.
Peoples-Jones has been excellent.
He's been awesome.
Chief's
He's
been
awesome.
excellent.
He's awesome. But the two things we talked about is who's a guy who can get deep on this defense. We kept saying it was going to be Anthony Schwartz. He can get deep. We just didn't see him on Sunday, and then he's dropping the ball. But the other part of it we talked about all the time is the defensive tackles.
And while they're not good,
No, they're actually
they're bad.
yeah.
The bigger issue has been the lack of anybody else in the edge room other than Myles Garrett and Clowney when he plays, but he's played half the season.
What do you think is the
Losing
bigger
Tack
issue?
McKinley, we don't have, and we haven't had
No,
Winovich.
yeah.
Alex Wright doesn't have a sack. Rochelle doesn't have a sack. Isaiah Thomas doesn't have
If
a
you
sack.
could fix one thing, would it be that, or would it be the busts that have happened in the back end?
I say the bust because you got to be able to defend against the pass to get wins.
Everything is too easy, and I'd say it's busts at the second level in run fits, in coverage assignments. It's busts
Right.
on the back
Second
end.
level
it's
busts.
all yes. Back seven has been not what it was supposed to be.
Poisel, higher, lower, or just right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying just right. And just to flip back over to the offense real quick, too. I mean, we found out what this group looks like now when the team is able to stop the run. And it's not going to happen very often this season, but now you know it's going to be a problem for Jacoby. At least that's what it looked like in this game. Now, granted, this was Bill Belichick. I understand that. But it wasn't pretty on offense either. It wasn't pretty in any facet of the game. So, yeah, this is just right at 23.
Next.
Higher or lower?
All right, to the top of the rankings we go. Buffalo, number 1. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. Anthony Poisel, higher, lower, or just right?
I think this is just right, and I kind of battled with this for a little bit, figuring out who was going to be the first team here. But I think the Bills are ahead because the Bills have blown out more opponents. They've got a 31-10 win over the Rams. They got a 41-7 win over the Titans and a 38-3 win over Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, the Eagles' largest 2 wins are a 24-7 win over the Vikings and a 24-8 win over the Commanders. So they've won by 1 possession against the Jaguars, Cardinals, and Lions, and they've scored more than 30 points just once this season. So to me, I still think it's the Bills that are number 1.
Bo Bishop,
Yeah,
higher, lower, just right?
Look, give credit. You got to win all your games. It's a tough league to do that in. I still like the Chiefs more than them. I understand why they're ahead of them. I get it. Makes sense to me. The only team that they have played who is good and at full strength when they played them is Minnesota. They handled them 24-7. Their schedule, it's amazing, guys. They go their next 3, Steelers, at Texans, Commies, then they're at Colts. They're 10-0 when they host Green Bay at the end of November. There's
and
no
who knows
chance
what Green Bay will look like by then.
Yeah, I don't know. They are not losing to Pittsburgh. They're not losing to the Texans. They get the Commies. This is probably as easy of a 10-game schedule, and I think they're really good. Don't mince words. I'm not suggesting that they're frauds. They're not. They're very good. But this is as easy as you can go into a season.
All right, next.
Higher or lower?
Zagura, we're going to start with you on this one.
Okay.
Kansas City is number 3. Minnesota, number 4. Giants, number 5. Number 6, the Dallas Cowboys. Higher, lower, or just right?
I think that is just right for the Dallas Cowboys, actually. I think with Dak Prescott back, could they jump up to number 4? You know, if they were head-to-head with the Minnesota Vikings, certainly. But I think this Vikings 5-1, Giants 5-1, Cowboys 4-2, they're all kind of in a similar space in the discussion. So I have no problem with where they currently are. And I think that, you know, getting Dak Prescott back is going to make them a much more complete team. Dynamic defense.
Poisel, higher, lower, or just right for the Dallas Cowboys?
I would bump them up to number 5 over the Giants because they beat the Giants. I mean, I think, Nathan, you're right. When Dak gets back, this is going to be a really and they are a really good football team right now, and they're going to, I think, be even better. So I think it's just right at 6. I'm sorry. I'd move them up to 5 because they beat the Giants. So, yeah, that's what I've said.
4 of the top 6 NFC teams. Next.
Not what we expected.
Higher or lower?
Not at all. Bo, I'm going to lead you off here with this one. Ravens, number 7. Number 8, the Chargers. Number 9, the New York Football Jets cracked the top 10. I don't remember the last time the Jets were in the top 10 in anything. Higher, lower, or just right here?
Based on the way they've been playing, they should be ranked higher because the 2 teams ahead of them are Baltimore and the Chargers. I'm not sure they wouldn't beat them both right now. Doesn't mean they're going to be there at the end, but based on what I've seen from them the last couple of weeks and what I've seen from Chargers the last 2 weeks, I don't know. I can't explain the Chargers. It defies logic that they're what they are. They should be a lot better. The Jets are for real, man. They're for real.
Zagura?
I love this Jets team. I've liked them. I thought we were lucky where we got them on the schedule. We obviously blew that game. We let it get away. That should have been a win for us, and instead it was a horrific loss. But this team is fun. I love the skill talent. I like the young guys on defense. And remember, it wasn't just their rookie class. They got Carl Lawson back, who had missed all of last year. It was their big free agent signing. Salah's got a lot of passion. He's kind of fun to watch on the sideline over there.
You see them like celebrating with him and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of juice.
A lot of juice. I like this Jets team. I'd say better in a big money situation. Are we ready to just back Zach Wilson?
No.
I don't know. But I do like them, and I think this current version of the Jets team would beat the current version of the Ravens the way they're playing, because Lamar has not been what he was the first 3 weeks, which was almost superhuman, and now he's kind of come back to earth a little bit.
Next,
Higher or lower?
Anthony Poisel, we'll start with you. Tampa Bay is number 10, 3-3, fresh off that loss to the Pukers. Higher, lower, or just right?
I mean, to me, I think it's lower. A loss to Mitch Trubisky, to me, means you're out of the top 10. That was just an absolutely abysmal game by them in Pittsburgh. I'd put these are all teams behind them. I'd put the Niners, Bengals, and Packers in front of them. I don't see how they're spacing themselves out other than a middle-of-the-pack team right now.
Bishop.
These guys always this ESPN one loves the Rams.
They do.
They love to just ram it. I mean, they've got the Rams all the way up at number 11. Both them and the Bucks need to come back to earth.
We've
a little
said
bit.
lower on the Bucks and Rams for the last
and
month
it keeps
now.
getting too high. The Niners are better than both of these teams. The Bengals, to Poisel's opinion, are better than these teams. Green Bay beat Tampa Bay, and Green Bay's got a lot of problems, but they beat them head to head.
Right.
So, like, at the very least, they got to come down to there.
Sure.
Yeah. Final one.
Higher or lower?
Zagura, I'm going to jump down to our last one here, and it is at number 24, the Denver Broncos. In front of them, the Browns, Jacksonville, New Orleans, and the Colts. After them, the Squealers, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Commies. Higher, lower, or just right for the Denver Broncos?
I think lower. I think they are worse than that. Or higher. I don't remember.
I feel like they're worse.
They're worse. Whatever.
I'd almost put them 31 just because
I think
of expectations.
The Broncos-Panthers is the worst game that you could have right now on television. Bears close to that. Commies probably close to that.
Commies are in the mix. Yeah, at least Detroit's entertaining. Houston's pretty bad.
Yeah, but at least they got that Damian Pierce kid.
Yeah.
He's got some juice.
Poisel, what do you think? Did you watch all that game last night?
I didn't watch any of it.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was a great choice. No, definitely lower. I mean, the two teams I for sure would rank them below on this list would be the Raiders and the Cardinals. They lost to the Raiders. I don't know why they're still above them on any power rankings right now. And their offense has played less worse. You can't say better. They've played less worse than the Broncos. I'm sorry. Yeah, than the Cardinals.
Good stuff, AP.
Yeah. Hey, congrats. He made his radio network debut this Sunday.
Fact or fiction, baby. It was awesome.
Oh, there you go. Congratulations. Good job out of you.
Thank you,
Still
sir.
so much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Mark your calendars. Face Off on the Lake, presented by Meyer. The first major outdoor hockey game at First Energy. It's February 18th. Bucks, the team up north. First Energy Stadium. Tickets are on sale now, starting at $12. For more information, visit firstenergystadium.com/faceoff or call 440-891-5050. Ohio State, Michigan hockey. Go Guards tonight. You can listen to it right here on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Go Guards.
First pitch 407. The next level is coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.